And because people are coming in and out of the auditorium throughout the event. So I've got Tom, Benali, Jonathan, Michael and John. Oh, sorry.
Are you not answering questions? No, so the speeches in the second.
Oh, I thought. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. I think that's all right. Okay, so our first question for this group comes from Rachel Collinson.
Sleep.
Just got the one mic that works.
I'm from New and Green Party. What would you do to ensure that we get 3 or more seats on the London Assembly?
Thanks. So I'm Tom Chance from Bromley Green Party. I'll be speaking later. I think the important thing is where are those other Assembly members going to come from? And this election, we may see UKIP resurge, Labour are going to feel still strong. The most clear place to take those extra seats is off the Lib Dems. So I think it's about us articulating a vision for our campaign which can really galvanise the Green base, but also reach out to those people who have more kind of Lib Demish values. So they want to have a fairer city, they want to have somebody who's going to tackle the housing crisis, but not just sort of rant and rave about it, but come forward with really practical solutions to give them the sense that we're going to help people stay put on their estates, we're not just going to complain about it, that we've got good ideas to solve air quality problems, that we're actually a very liberal party as well, that we really believe in, unlike their party leader, for example, gay marriage and other things like that. So I think that's the clearest place where we're going to get the additional Assembly members this time round. Thanks.
Hi, Blarney Hamdash. I think we have to run a really energetic campaign, and I think with the huge surge in membership in London, we need to actually get them involved and excited about this campaign. And I think key to that will be getting a really clear, positive message for London that is hopeful and optimistic about what we can do. I also think we have to abandon lazy stereotypes about where we do well in London and where we don't. One vote in Newham is as good as a vote in Islington, and we need to abandon those stereotypes. And I think as a campaign, I'd pledge now to visit every local party between now and the general election for at least one action day, if not more, and get out and get enthused. And it's something I've got a track record of doing throughout the local and general elections. I got Young Greens out campaigning in target seats, and it made such a massive difference towards us winning our seats and not. So I've got that track record in doing that. I also think we have to reach out to communities that we've been maybe hesitant or found difficult to communicate with before. I mean, I have grown up in a Muslim background. I'm more than comfortable talking to mosques about how Islam cares massively about climate change and inequality, and I think we need messengers that can do that authentically.
I think this is an absolutely crucial question, Rachel. I'm so glad you asked it. In Lambeth, we won an unwinnable seat. We went from 8% to 30% of the vote. One of the things we did was look at the 2012 elections, not just at the first preferences that Jenny got, but the second preferences. Over 20% of London gave their second preferences to Jenny Jones. Now, we need to target those people, and those are the people we need to win and translate them into first preferences. And then assortment, they aren't just Lib Dems, because the Lib Dems are slumped by them, and we didn't manage to capitalise on them. Zach Goldsmith is going to come for us. He's going to come for that solid Green vote that we've relied on for many, many years. People tend to vote along the lines of air quality, greener London. Tories like that message, and we will be winning Tory votes on the Assembly, and we need to make sure that we don't lose those. So we need to be a Green party with teeth, and we need a 32 borough strategy that reaches out to the whole London with a wide offer, from security through to air quality, through to transport, and a range of issues.
Can you just let us know who you are?
I'm Jonathan Bartley. I'm also running for mayor.
I'm Mike Gold from Waltham Forest Green Party. I disagree quite violently with some of what's been already said. First of all, I'm not interested in targeting the Lib Dems. I want to target the left of the Labour Party. Now, obviously, this will depend on what the result of the Labour Party leadership is. But there are a lot of Labour Party members that have great sympathy with the Green Party, and they need a reason to live. The second part, to leave and to vote Green. The second part...
Anthony.
Not a Freudian slip, hopefully. The second thing we need to do is get on the streets. And having stood as a candidate in Walthamstow in the general election, the thing we had missing was people on the streets. We've got over 50,000 members nationally. There's 20-odd thousand, I believe, in London. We have to get these people on the streets, and that means proper organisation, which in my opinion we didn't have in the general election where I was involved. Thank you.
Hello, Shara Ali. Some of what I might want to say is going to be in my opening speech, which I haven't been able to give yet, but there you go. Really, we must not undersell ourselves. We need to be ambitious about all those people who can vote for us. And that doesn't just mean going over and consolidating our core Green vote. We need to push the boundaries. In particular, we are not diverse enough as an organisation, and we need to fix that quick. We need to be reaching out through ethnic media, reaching out in all those festivals where people, ethnic minorities meet and engage. We need to be the public face that serves them. And we are not just going after left and far left, we are going after everybody who is a human being. Because our ambition is broader than that. It's broader, it exceeds all those party political affiliations. It's about the human race, if you want to put it like that. It's about climate change like there's no tomorrow. We need to fix that.
You saw Ben Ali leave the stage. He's had to go back to work, for those of you that came in a little bit late. Are there one or two questions from the floor following on from that question? If not, oh, yes.
In the previous question, we talked about working as a team. It seems like you have quite diverse views on who and which groups we should be targeting. We as a party decide the strategy as a team. How will you go about working with the London Green Party to implement the chosen strategy?
It's a good and important question. In a way, I'm in a funny position because I wrote the last London Green Party strategy and I'll be updating it this time round, so maybe I could just say I'll just make it my own. But no, I mean, ultimately all of these things are decided by the membership and they're passed by the membership. And I just tend to follow the wisdom of the crowd on these things. So in the sort of 8 years or so I've been active in the Green Party in London, I've followed the strategies that other people have developed over many years which seem to work, and I'm not too fussed about thinking that I've somehow got the right idea over and above everyone else. And I think what's going to be very interesting about this process, and it's already interesting about this process, is it's making us all think much more deeply about what we do in this campaign. And I think that's one of the important things that we need to continue, because we're not going to come up with the right answers today. We're going to improve our understanding of how we're going to win this election, how we're going to get 3 or 4 assembly members, and we need to continue that debate and dialogue over the next few months so that we come up with something that we can all, or most of us certainly at the top of the list, can really sign up to, and that the mayoral candidate can get really excited about, and that you can all get really excited about as well. Because it's not so much about us, it's all of us in this room.
I think that's why this is, as Tom said, this process is so important, and we're all agreed pretty much on policy, we found over the hustings so far, but we diverge on strategy and tactics. And I think we need to have that debate more at these hustings as we go. I will put my position very hard because I desperately believe that we've got to move to a next level. I believe this is a make or break election for the Green Party. If we rest back on our usual issues, this isn't a referendum on climate change, this isn't a referendum on air pollution. We've got to move right out and make a very broad offer to the whole of London. The electorate can be divided up into 3 groups. You've got your progressives, you've got your people in the centre who are kind of more aspirational, and you've got your ordinary conservatives. Now, I don't think we should change our policy position. The one thing we're agreed on is our policies, but in the way we present those policies, that's crucial. And it'll be the comms team that comes together with that strategy to make sure those policy ideas are presented to people in a way that they, in each sector of society, can grasp and understand that we are on their side.
Whatever the strategy is, it should be ready by the end of August. And we should be out in September on the street knocking on doors. And I would say, and I am an ex-Labour Party member and office holder, and I've been involved long, long ago in election campaigns, and there is no substitute, forget all the social media, etc., etc. There's no substitute for talking to human beings. Find out where your strength is, find out where the possible voters are, and make certain you get back to them and you answer their questions. Don't waste your time on having arguments with people that are never going to vote for you. Get out there, yes, no, maybe, get it down and get it done. And this needs to start in September, not have months arguing over a strategy and starting a couple of days before the election. Thank you.
I would like us to have ready, as soon as possible, our policy document. And I think it's very important that not just members of the team, those who you select into the Assembly, as candidates, but every member gets an option and choice to input into the manifesto working. I actually lead drafted, if you want to call it that, the manifesto in 2008. It's a great job of work. I think what we must do is ensure that we are not just narrowing our focus. I've tended to hear a lot already about the competencies of the mayor. Now that's all well and good, and they are important. It's good that we know that, but we have to be more ambitious than that. It will be, Jonathan, it will be the case that many people do want to hear about climate change because it's been neglected. If at every electional opportunity we aren't talking about it, nobody's going to talk about it. They'll say it's not a mayoral competency. We need to be talking about it loud and clear because it is a planetary emergency, nothing less. But I think the strategy will come from the policy document. Once we've arranged that and had all full input in that, I think it's something that everybody will be able to sign up to.
Hands up down here. I'm afraid we haven't got time to take a second question on that, unfortunately, but maybe afterwards you can ask people in the corridor. Now we're not exactly going to play musical chairs. The candidates that are left in the room, if you could just come and stand along the front, there's going to be a question now for all of you to answer. I know, we've spent hours sorting this out. We're changing it minute by minute. So I think that will be a piece of cake, yeah. Caroline Allen will be asking the next question.
Do we stand in a particular order?
No, if you just
Go wild.
sit at the front.
Whatever happens,
Yeah. So, as the organisers of this event, we've taken a little bit of a liberty of putting our own question, and you'll notice that this first half has had a little bit of a strategic bias. There will be some policy questions in the second half. But I've got quite a specific question of all the candidates. So, while you are probably, many of you, hoping that you will be high up on the list and in line for an Assembly job, and I'm sure you'll do a great job, I'd like to really specifically know, what is the one thing that you can offer to us during the campaign that you will do to really help the campaign? And I'd like you to here sort of publicly state that even if you're further down the list, even if you're maybe 9 or 10, that you're going to stay involved and that you will actually do that for us. Because there's a lot of great ideas, but there will be a lot of hard work, and we do need a really great involved team. So I hope people don't mind me taking the liberty of asking that question.
Sorry, Sean. And how long do we have? 1 minute. 1 minute.
So I've stood for the London Assembly before in 2004, so-called Super Thursday, 2008 and 2012. I was selected into a position which was not high enough to get elected, if we can put it that way. We got our fantastic Assembly members in Darren and Jenny, and I think I'm proud to have been a part of that. And their election was my reward, and that will be the same in this selection. Whether you put me as a reserve even, I will campaign hard as one amongst equals, and that's my promise to you, wherever I am on the list. And I put it to us, everybody here, that, you know, we're not just active during election. God forbid if we're active just during selection either. But I think you need to look at our track record and see what level of service we have given to the party, because through that service, you learn a lot about how the party thinks. You learn, and that accountability is critical when we get into the London Assembly.
What do I offer? I'm bloody good on the doorstep. I know how to talk to people, I know how to discuss with them, and I know how to convince them that they ought to think again. I am prepared to do that, whatever the position is that I end up on the list. My main point in standing is that I've returned recently from living abroad, and I'm getting to know people in the Green Party and the London Party, and so this is a good opportunity for that. But I would expect to be on the doorstep from an early date, and hopefully this is the way we will handle the campaign. Thank you.
part of Jenny's campaign team in 2012. I did the press and media for her. And I saw how important it is to have support when you are that mayoral candidate. You're out the front, it's incredibly lonely, it's incredibly dispiriting. And I promise to stay in absolute constant contact with that mayoral candidate, if I'm not the mayoral candidate, to give them feedback, support, boost their morale, because that person, that figure, is absolutely integral to the campaign. The whole campaign depends on it. The number of votes we get on the assembly list depends on that selection of the mayoral candidate. They need to be supported, they need to have feedback, they need to know how they can improve their performance. We saw what happened with the difficulties we got into during the general election, and we must not let that happen again. So my pledge is to support that mayoral candidate with constant feedback on a daily basis and give them what they need to do the job. Thank you.
So I'm in an odd position because I currently work at the GLA, and if I stand, I have to quit, and I'll go 6 weeks without pay. So, being very candid, if I'm not very high up on the list, I may decide to step down from the list, but I'll definitely still be part of the campaign. And I led on drafting the 2012 manifesto. I was key to the strategy of our 2012 campaign. I worked incredibly hard on that and on the European campaign. This is the first time ever I'm putting myself forward for this. In whatever capacity, I will make this campaign a success because I'm absolutely desperate that we get more Assembly members and that we continue our strong work in City Hall. What can I bring to the campaign? I think one thing is that we're the only party really with answers to London's housing crisis. I'm the party's national housing spokesperson. I have a huge amount of expertise on London policy issues, and I'll bring that to support whichever candidates are there, to brief them, to make sure that they can take on the other parties and show the voters that we're the only ones with the answers. Thank you.
Yeah, the last three actually assembly elections have been number 3. So what I bring is experience of being at the heart of all those campaigns. I'm 26 years a member, so I'm not going anywhere soon. Although at that age, you never know. But I have experience, tenacity, and energy, a hell of a lot of energy. If anyone wants to see my services to the party, just look up my website, noel4london.org, and there's a whole section there on services to the Green Party, 26 years of it, as I said. So I will be campaigning no matter what.
Whatever we do in this campaign, we have got to leave ourselves ready to fight the council elections in 2018. Michael's been talking about getting out on the doorstep. We do need to do some of that. We need to motivate, energise and excite and engage members across the party in every single local party, as wherever I am on the list, I will make that my focus for this campaign. And in the past, the last Assembly elections, I was very low on the list, I was number 10, but I was out there campaigning with Jenny all the time. It's really important, whoever we are, wherever we are on this list, we can help make this campaign big and make it matter for Londoners.
I'm Sian Berry. I have been mayoral candidate, and I know that during this election there are too many hustings, too many events, too many local parties to visit. There are too many things to do for one person, and so our Assembly candidates need to be out there substituting for the mayoral candidate in as many places as possible. You can probably tell from how I am today that I enjoy debates and hustings and things, and that's what I would commit to doing. If it's allowed, I think if I'm low down on the list, I would want to stand in my constituency as well, because I can't stay out of these elections, and I really want to be representing the party as much as I possibly can during this election, because it's absolutely crucial that we do well, and whoever's the mayoral candidate cannot do it all on their own, and we need good Assembly candidates substituting for them.
I'm Rosemary Warrington. What I bring is organisational skills and knowing people. I'm secretary of the London Green Party. I'm in contact with an enormous number of the Green Party people who are activists. I've met many of the new members at new members' evenings. I've got an enormous number of contacts, and that of doing the boring stuff, of joining stuff up, of trying to make sure that the placards and the banners and the people to hold them and the chap to take the photograph are all in the same place at the same time, looking at the camera. without the sun in their faces, and that happens consistently, and that's my particular strength, and I will do that regardless of where I am, even a reserve. I will bring that.
I'm sort of at the opposite end of Noel in the fact that I've only been a party member for 2 years, but the reason, as I said, I was in the civil service, the reason I left that comfortable, safe job was because I felt I needed to do something. So that's, in terms of my commitment, that's why I'm here, to actually do something and work hard to actually achieve something. In terms of the work I've done, I stood as a candidate for Croydon South MP at the last election and ran the campaigns across the 3 seats in Croydon to actually get people out there, do the action days, get the leaflets delivered, rain, sun, whatever weather we were working our way through. In terms of personal things I've got before, I've done a lot of work in policy communications, working with the press, working with social media, developing messaging strategies, quite happy to get involved in that. And following up on what from others said, one of the key things to offer is actually personal support to those candidates who are in the front line. If I'm not actually high up on the list, then yes, part of my job is to actually be there to support those people and make sure they get everything they need to do the best job they can.
Hi. Obviously I'd like to be near the top of the list, but it doesn't matter where I am, I'm still going to do what I do, which is community activism and campaigning on all the issues that matter in support of the whole Green Party agenda. I should have said earlier that I'm wearing this dress. I want to put the heart back into politics. There's not enough heart in politics these days. I think it's really important when we're out and about that we link with people and show that we understand the issues, and that's what people want to see. I mean, people know there's an air pollution issue, but do they know that there's 4,000 deaths in London every year? We need to be very clear about the messages we get across and how we do that, so that people understand why we're campaigning so hard, and the fact that we'd like to win all 11 of the London list places. We're not talking about 2 or 3. And I think that's the way to do it, and I'll campaign through things that I do, like keep our NHS public, the Lewisham Housing Action Group, and the other things like Deptford Neighbourhood Action that I'm involved with.
Okay, everybody, I keep checking the clock, see what time it is. I'm not going to ask for a follow-on question, but I think that everybody made it very clear, that they would be committed to the campaign. We're going to take a break now for 15 minutes. If people could come back in 15 minutes' time. Sorry, Nick has a question.
Sorry, it's just a really nice group shot, and I just wondered if the front row.
Yeah. So while Nick carries on taking it, Nick Hoop at the back of the room, photographer for the day. Thanks, Nick. So in the second half, we will have 1.5 minutes presentation from Jonathan, Barry, Rosemary, Shara, Michael, Tom and Dee. So see you all in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Knowing people. I'm secretary of the London Green Party. I'm in contact with an enormous number of the Green Party people who are activists. I've met many of the new members at New Members' Evenings. I've got an enormous number of contacts, and that of doing the boring stuff, of joining stuff up, of trying to make sure that the placards and the banners and the people to hold them and the chap to take the photograph are all in the same place at the same time, looking at the camera without the sun in their faces, and that happens consistently, and that's my particular strength, and I will do that regardless of where I am, even a reserve. I will bring that.
I'm sort of at the opposite end of Noel in the fact that I've only been a party member for 2 years, but the reason, as I said, I was in the civil service, the reason I left that comfortable, safe job was because I felt I needed to do something. So that's, in terms of my commitment, that's why I'm here, to actually do something and work hard to actually achieve something. In terms of the work I've done, I stood as a candidate for Croydon South MP at the last election and ran the campaigns across the 3 seats in Croydon to actually get people out there, do the action days, get the leaflets delivered, rain, sun, whatever weather we were working our way through. In terms of personal things I've got before, I've done a lot of work in policy communications, working with the press, working with social media, developing messaging strategies, quite happy to get involved in that. And following up on what from one of the said, one of the key things to offer is actually personal support to those candidates who are in the front line. If I'm not actually high up on the list, then yes, part of my job is to actually be there to support those people and make sure they get everything they need to do the best job they can.
Hi. Obviously, I'd like to be near the top of the list, but it doesn't matter where I am. I'm still going to do what I do, which is community activism and campaigning on all the issues that matter in support of the whole Green Party agenda. I should have said earlier that I'm wearing this dress. I want to put the heart back into politics. There's not enough heart in politics these days. I think it's really important when we're out and about that we link with people and show that we understand the issues, and that's what people want to see. I mean, people know there's an air pollution issue, but do they know that there's 4,000 deaths in London every year? We need to be very clear about the messages we get across and how we do that, so that people understand why we're campaigning so hard and the fact that we'd like to win all 11 of the London list places. We're not talking about 2 or 3. And I think that's the way to do it. And I'll campaign through things that I do, like keep our NHS public, the Lewisham Housing Action Group, and the other things like Deptford Neighbourhood Action that I'm involved with.
Okay, everybody, I keep checking the clock, see what time it is. I'm not going to ask for a follow-on question. I think that everybody made it very clear, that they would be committed to the campaign. We're going to take a break now for 15 minutes. If people could come back in 15 minutes' time. Sorry, Nick has a question.
Sorry, it's just a really nice group shot, and I just wondered if the preparation...
So while Nick carries on taking it, Nick Hooper at the back of the room, photographer for the day. Thanks, Nick. So in the second half, we will have 1.5 minutes presentation from Jonathan, Barry, Rosemary, Shara, Michael, Tom and Dee. So see you all in 15 minutes. Thank you.